Hey beauties, welcome to the Clean Beauty Podcast. Did you know that unlike most everything else in America, cosmetics are not regulated? This means that corporations can use thousands of potentially harmful ingredients that I personally know can cause health problems. I'm your host, Cassandra McClure. I've been in the beauty business for over 10 years as a celebrity makeup artist that advocates for safer and more sustainable cosmetics. Join me each week for important news, exclusive interviews, and more on the Clean Beauty Revolution. Hi, Angie.
Hi, Cassandra. How are you?
Good. I'm so excited to have you on. Just to give the listeners a little background, Angie and I met virtually through Instagram. I saw her face masks and thought they were really cool and interesting, and I had to learn a little bit more. And then our journey kind of started, and here we are. So, first, I want to just talk about your journey, your health journey. And I know you naturally healed your digestive issues and hormonal acne. And so I want to talk about that first, and then kind of your journey into starting your own mask company.
Okay, perfect. So my journey with clean beauty actually started when I discovered ways to finally and naturally heal a lot of my own health issues, which included, as you mentioned, digestive issues and hormonal acne. And that was just by eating cleaner and more whole foods and just paying attention to the ingredient labels on packaging in general for food. So I used this approach and habit on how I chose skincare and hair care products as I became more used to reading labels. And the more I did research on how toxic and harmful a lot of these products are, and how you can easily get them in local grocery stores or retailers close to you, I was very shocked and surprised. So some of the things I quickly learned that in these products contain industrial chemicals such as carcinogens, pesticides, reproductive toxins, and hormone disruptors. And they also include plasticizers, degreasers, and surfactants, which are chemicals that are used to keep, for example, the concrete soft or to get grime off of auto parts or paint and inks. And I thought that was just crazy how it was so easily accessible to people like us who are trying to find products for our skin and hair. So I just thought it was crazy how companies can allow that. And that's how I started my clean beauty journey.
Wow, that's amazing. So, how did you discover the face masks, and what made you want to do that?
So knowing that and doing a bit of research, I moved over to Asia for work in my 20s. And in that part of the world, face mask was a huge part of their skincare regimen. So everywhere you go, even if there's a 7-Eleven or grocery store or any local retailer, you'll see like a wall of face mask everywhere. So it was easy to get access to it at a very cheap price. So I tried masking as much as I could. However, as I kept masking, I felt like an itchy red reaction to them. And I remember again the research I did, how a lot of these products do have chemicals in it. So I reached out to top manufacturers in Asia and also the US just to learn more about what's behind these masks and why I had these itchy reactions. And I discovered that unfortunately, the majority of them contain mostly water or glycerin. So, like, even up to 90%. And then after that, in the ingredient list, it's like a bunch of harmful ingredients that we just discussed. And then by the end of the ingredient list, because it goes by order and how much they put in it, you get 1 to 3% of the actual active ingredients, which is what they promote on the packaging, like cucumber or whatever ingredient may be. So that's the reason why they're so cheap and the results are temporary. And I had these itchy reaction to it because I believe my skin was reacting to some of the chemicals that they were putting into the actual ingredients.
Wow, only 1
Yeah.
to 3%. That is very low. I mean, some of the masks
Hmm.
you see here are even only a dollar or 2, and you know that that must not be good. Wow.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and like you can get them in the dollar store now and they just get cheap, they become cheaper and cheaper. So, and that's another thing about manufacturers. When I wanted to see if we could get rid of some of these ingredients. But unfortunately, they sell them in bulk. So a lot of big retailers, they private label from these companies. So they just slap on a label and then they sell them in high volume. In order to sell them in high volume, they have to put certain things in there to keep the cost low. So
Yeah,
unfortunately,
that's
it was
the
really hard.
cosmetic.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the cosmetic industry. I mean, a lot of it is private label, and a lot of people don't really realize that, and they think that products are different, and they are, but you have to look at the big names that own, 25% of the market, and there's only a few, um, and that's just the way it is.
I know. That's why I believe indie brands are becoming more and more popular. We're based in Canada, actually, so we have a place called Shoppers Drug Mart. I think it's kind of like your Rexall in the U.S. But on the actual shelves, we're starting to see a lot more indie brands that were discovered actually on Instagram being incorporated on the shelves, which I thought was kind of interesting and cool.
Yeah, I'm in touch with them as well, and they're almost like Credo in California. But yeah, it's really awesome to see them supporting the smaller brands and lines. And I think a lot of people think it's just super trendy, but it is here to stay because a lot of people will never go back. It's kind of like organic. Like once you know what's in certain foods, or it's just the way of life now.
Exactly. Exactly.
So let's talk about manufacturing. Did you have to get a few partners together? Like once you started looking at all the factories and you were getting a lot of no's, or you were becoming disappointed with just discovering that you couldn't really make your own. And I bet a lot of different companies told you that they wouldn't budge on the ingredients. So what did you do? How did you?
Yeah, because again, I didn't have a huge budget, but I did have a goal in mind of the type of mass I want to create. I just kept on researching, connecting to as many manufacturers as possible. And I believe I got lucky and I stumbled across a scientist and manufacturer that was trying to create something like this in the cosmetic industry as well as the pharmaceutical industry. So, this technology that we're going to talk about is now being transferred over to the pharma industry as well because of how unique it is. So, I told them my story. I told them about what I was looking for, and the scientists as well as the team was willing to kind of work with me on small batches, which is I had to negotiate, but they were very open and they really do have the same goals and philosophy and values as we did as a company. So that's how we engaged together to work together.
Wow. So tell everyone about your mask. What makes it different?
So it's completely dry. So for those who have tried a wet mask before, when you take it out of the packet, it's mostly water. So you have this like wet feeling. Ours is completely dry, so there's no water at all, which may feel kind of weird in the beginning because you expect something kind of liquid. But because it's dry, it's convenient, it's comfortable, and easy to use. That's what a lot of our customers love about it. Our mask is contains 100% natural, safe, and effective ingredients. So that includes not even having fragrance in it, because we all know that fragrance is also a trade secret where a lot of brands and companies like to hide a lot of these chemicals in there. And as we talk about the technology, the mask actually lasts up to 8 hours or more, depending on the health of your skin. So it's not just temporary. And the best part is you can use it up to 3 times.
Yeah, so the sustainability aspect.
Correct.
So that's what caught my eye about the mask. I was super excited to see a dry mask. I had never seen one with the ear holes, but when I first took it out of the package and put it on, I immediately felt almost like an activation. I felt like I could feel it working. It smelled amazing, and I knew that it wasn't harmful chemicals making me smell that. And it was such a light layer. It was like almost like a film after I took it off, and I did like massage it into my skin, and my skin did glow all day. I went out and I had a couple compliments from friends. We had met for lunch. And after I spoke to you, you had mentioned that you can use it as a primer. And that made a lot of sense to me because of the way that it laid on my skin. And so the next time I use it as a primer before my makeup. And again, it looked so beautiful. So I need to get a couple more from you. I gifted one of the masks to my best friend, and she is loving it too. So
Oh, we're
yeah,
so
that's
happy to hear
really
that.
yeah. So, what was the criteria when you were looking to formulate this?
Yeah, so the criterias, when we're looking to find a dry mask that I could actually, well, first of all, I could actually use myself because, again, I had itchy reaction to 99% of the ones on the market. But when I was actually writing down a list that it had to hit, again, it had to be um, easy to use because I just didn't really like the fact that sometimes I get cold easily and I'm in Canada. So sometimes when you wear a wet face mask, especially in the winter, it's uncomfortable and cold and you have to hover around the sink. So we want to create something that's easy to use and comfortable. Of course, it had to contain 100% natural ingredients if possible. That's safe and again effective. Like it's one thing to have natural ingredients, but it needs to also work as well. So that was very important to us. And if we could have results that are visible, like not just after you take the mask off, but like long lasting, like people can actually see like their skin becoming healthier. That was actually quite important for us too, and the sustainable aspect of it too. So if we could find one that's biodegradable or reusable, that would be a great bonus as well.
That's awesome. And so, after you dispose of the mask after the three times, well, okay, so I was wondering about that. So, after you do use it, you put it back in the package, it's resealable, so you can put it back, you can put the mask back inside. But is there just a very thick layer of the ingredients on the inside? And can you tell us what that is? And so each time you wear it, it kind of takes off a layer. And then so by the third time, there's none left. Is that kind of the idea?
Yes, that's exactly. Okay, so the technology is very interesting because so it's called BMV and it stands for biomimetic microvectors. So what it is that it's packed, it replaces water with rich and natural actives and lipids. So just imagine like these like really small white balls, millions of them on the actual mask. So once you put in your skin, the mask, it transfers over to your, gently transfers over to your skin. So depending on the health of your skin, so some people can use it 2 to 3 times, and some people have told me that you use up to 5 times. And it really depends on how healthy your skin is. So the great thing about this technology is that it only takes in your skin what it needs. So it's just say that your skin is lacking nutrients, your body's lacking nutrients, it'll take in more of the ingredients from the mask and you can feel it. But if your skin's quite healthy, it takes less of it. So when it transfers over to your skin, it goes in deep into your epidermis. The skin will recognize the blend of lipids from the actual BNV as nutrients. So over time, it'll just nourish your skin throughout the day by releasing these nutrients onto your skin when it needs it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that is amazing. And it's so crazy you said that because yesterday you saw me in the video wearing it for a new app I'm working with. And I wanted to showcase the mask and show them. And when I took it off, I was like, I still feel like there's some product on here. So I put it back in the package, but it was the third time that I had wore it. And so it makes a lot of sense because I think my skin is a little healthier because I do take so I mean I mask, I cleanse, I do everything, because I'm just obsessed with my skin. So that's really, really cool to know.
Yeah, so that means because I've seen your skin, you have, by the way, beautiful, naturally glowing skin in general. So I feel like you can use this up to 4 or 5 times. So use it until you feel like there's no more. of it. Like we say 3 times because that's an average. But and then what people love doing is after they feel like they got the most out of the mask, you can rub it on your scalp. By the way, there's no, it's not dirty. There's no transfer of bacteria in anything because it only releases ingredients. It doesn't pick up any bacteria on the actual fabric, which is great. So you can rub it on your scalp after, you can rub it on your elbow or put it in your shoe without socks, just so that it can make other parts of your skin soft and also feed it nutrients as well.
Wow, I love it. That is really good advice. Okay, so can we talk about what exactly is in this magic mask that makes it so special? Like, what are the scents and the so it's antibacterial? Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. It does not, it's the fabric. So the fabric that we use is a special textile. It's medical grade polyester, and which means that it's safe for the skin and it avoids bacterial growth. Whereas regular masks, it's either like cheaper cotton or like a regular fabric that they process over time. So there's already chemicals in it while it goes through processing. Ours is completely medical grade. It's very high quality, and it just allows the formula to transfer properly to the skin gently as well. Yeah, and it keeps the actives. It doesn't make the act. So when we print the actives on the actual fibers, it doesn't stick into the fiber. It releases off the fiber. So that's just
Yeah, everyone has to try it. It's really, really something I've never experienced before, and I love it. I'm addicted.
thank you.
So, can we talk a little bit about your holistic health and wellness and what that means to you?
Yes, that means so many things to me. The journey obviously came from an actual experience that I went through 10 years ago when I had these health issues. So it was a long journey because I kind of learned everything on my own. But after changing my diet and eating cleaner and healthier whole foods, I started to even look into just spirituality as well. I think that's a huge part of being whole and feeling holistic as well. So I've got looked into meditation, doing yoga, exercising more, and I think that to me it means an entire lifestyle change. If I want to feel a certain way, feel certain energy, and feel strong, so that's what it means to me. Just being holistic for the mind, the soul, and also, yeah. So that's what it is. Just like eating healthier for me, taking care of my mental state as well.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And you've only been doing this for a few months, is that right?
For Bear Me, so we started the idea earlier this year, and we launched end of year, so around September, October.
Wow, so it got you right at the beginning.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah. So we haven't done like a full blown official launch yet, but next year, early next year, in January, actually, we're going to be in LA where we'll be officially launching our product to the market at a trade show.
Which trade show is that?
It's called the Indie Beauty Expo.
Oh my gosh, I'm in talks with them too. I'm so excited. I think I'll see you there.
I hope so. I hope you can come by our booth because during that time we'll be launching another formulation, which I think you and the market will love in LA since everyone there is a bit more health conscious. It's called Superfood Elixir. And it's pretty fun because all the ingredients within this formulation will be all superfoods like mango, goji berry, chia seeds, and it's extremely nourishing as well for your skin. So we'll be testing that as well with the market at the trade show.
Yeah, mango is one of those super fruits that we don't really talk about or you don't really see advertised as much. So I'm
Hmm.
happy to hear that you're using that.
Yeah, I had goji berries, mango, chia seeds, all these tomatoes. We even have tomatoes and turmeric. It's a really interesting blend that we have that's in this mask, but together when you incorporate it, it's beautiful. Like this is actually one of my favorite formulations. So I'm really excited to share this with you guys.
Great.
Products could be clean, but there needs to be a bit of science behind it to make it effective as well. So it's finding the balance of using the right ingredients to actually make a product effective. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like just because a product is 100% organic doesn't mean it's necessarily the best for the skin. And then I also liked New Body, which is like a brand based out of Toronto. It's my friend's brand, and they formulate all their products in small batches, and they'll be launching at Indie Beauty. New Beauty, NIU, Body,
Oh,
New Body.
awesome. And then I'd love to hear a few stories about what the feedback that you've gotten, like since you launched so recently. Has there been a lot of feedback, or were you surprised? And how have you gone about marketing and building a team and doing all that stuff?
Yeah. So when we haven't officially launched, we launched on Instagram, and we did get sales on Instagram through stories from people that shared their experience with it. So that's how we got our organic sales in the last month and a half. And because to us, the feedback was the most important part when launching the brand, because all about hearing what other people had to say about the product in case we needed to tweak it to make it better. And surprisingly, the feedback has been very, very good. And what we do is that we actually know all of our customers because we have a list, and we'd follow up with them either via DM on Instagram or by email. And sometimes we hop on the call with them as well, and we'll ask what their experience was. We learn about their journey for clean beauty, so we get to learn more about them as people. And we tell them our story, and we just connect that way. And because there's that connection with our customers, they give us very thorough feedback about our product and some tips that they were able to share with us. So one of my favorite stories was we had a mom, and she has a daughter that is 13, and she's going through hormonal, I guess, acne with her skin as well as pimples at that age. And she was very concerned about some of the products that she's putting on her skin. And she did say that her and her friends go to the dollar store a lot and buy masks, and she knows what's in them. So she's like, I don't know what to do. It's making my daughter's face worse, etc. So this is why she ended up buying several packs of her mask. And I didn't know this, but her daughter also had a very mild eczema as well on certain parts of her skin. And when she ordered that product or mask and she let her daughter try it, immediately it really healed that parts of her skin, which is quite nice. And it wasn't also giving her acne any irritation. So she saw the results like over time after using the mask that it was really healing her skin. And that's probably the testament to the fact that our ingredients are very gentle and natural as well. So I really liked to hear stories like this where it really helped their skin, like problem skin as well.
That's so great. I love hearing that too. I think that nowadays, when you go on social media, and I know as a teenager, you kind of want to try what's in the magazines and stuff, but now it's kind of like Instagram and Facebook and things. And so these things are heavily advertised and targeted to them in that age group. And so they want to try these things, or they only have a limited amount of money. But so often I have women fill out the skincare quiz on my own website, and they send pictures of their skin and ask for advice. And they don't really like the answer of when I tell them that they need to stop using what they're using and let their skin breathe and detox, instead of trying to hide it with more and more product. You really do need like a full cleanse. So It's great to hear that your mask works so quickly, and I'll definitely be recommending it to some of my clients.
Thank you so much. Yes, I completely agree with what you just said there as well. That's why we called ourselves Bare Me, because again, we believe that in order to have great skin, it's less is more. You it's all about choosing the right products for your skin and just keeping to that. And you're right, with Instagram and social media and all these new brands and products coming up, you feel like you want to try everything. and and sometimes that's not great for your skin because it gets confused. So for me personally, I only use things that I know works for my skin, and I keep it to the minimal. And because there's a certain point where your skin can't take anymore. No matter how much product you slather on your skin, it can only take a certain amount. So that's why I thought this technology was great, because it only takes in as much as your skin needs it to. So that's kind of how that relates to your philosophy as well.
We
Yeah.
definitely need more products like yours.
Thank you.
Okay, Angie, well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and chatting with me. And I would love to share how anyone can get in touch with you if they have other questions or want to partner.
Sure. They can go to www.baremebeauty.com and learn more about us from there, or connect to us. There's a email form there, or they can go on Instagram at baremebeauty, and they can also DM us there as well.
Perfect.
And
Well, thank you again for coming on and calling in from Canada. This has been great. I learned a lot. So I'm super excited to launch this episode.
thank you so much, Cassandra.
Today's episode is so generously sponsored by Bare Me Beauty, a no fuss masking approach to beauty, a waterless mask that is super soft and dry that loops around your ears so it fits perfectly on your face. I can attest to this personally, that this mask is a game changer. It's a no mess, no fuss, and perfect for multitasking. It's 100% natural. There's no harsh chemicals. It's vegan, cruelty free, and 100% made with plant-based ingredients. It is amazing. Take my word for it and head on over to baremebeauty.com and enter the code CLEANBEAUTY20 for 20% off your first mask. Happy masking! All right, so that's it for this week's episode on the Clean Beauty Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to head over to iTunes to review, rate, and subscribe to the channel. Until next week, stay beautiful.